Hey, you kids, I'm Poncho, and this is John. And Babylon 5 Virgin Viewing.
Hey guys, welcome back to Virgin Viewing, Babylon 5 Season 2. We're doing episodes 5 through 9.
Absolutely. And this time, there was actually lots of stuff happening.
No, Pancho, I didn't talk to you so that you wouldn't talk. It was quiet intro.
So the first one of this batch is The Long Dark, episode 5. This was the one where you had an old Earth vessel, a pre-hyperspace vessel that was discovered, and inside you had a sleepy lady and also a boogeyman. And there was some guest starring across this episode. What do you guys think of this one?
So this was a cool episode. Again, stuff is happening, which is great. It looks like we're getting an intro into some of the other threats to the galaxy. And we finally meet a guard that wants to get rid of all the hobos.
I actually wrote down in my notes as soon as I saw the vessel at the beginning that it was a vessel entirely of space hobos. But I was wrong. Instead, it was just Lieutenant Barkley in a dumpster.
Right, yep. Playing Amos.
He did great. Lieutenant Barkley did fantastic. The guy who was the crazy hobo, the crazy veteran hobo.
Okay.
I think he did really, really good in this episode.
The actor's name is Dwight Schultz.
Dwight Schultz. He was in Star Trek Next Generation as Lieutenant Barkley. And also Voyager.
Are we doing a Star Trek show?
Yep.
Okay.
Wait for it.
I'm not super well versed with sci-fi stuff. Like I like the Star Wars stuff where like you just pew pew and you don't think about it too much. But wobbly space travel, like the ship coming at you wobbly, like that didn't do it for me. Didn't make sense to me.
Because in your mind everything travels on the same plane and okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it was wobbly and tumbly.
Okay. I mean that's how things are in space.
Okay. I've never been.
I thought it was really great that the Amiga could handle that. So a big part of this episode was on the old ass space vessel. They found two humans. One of them was long dead, and one of them was in a stasis pod. It was a girl, and the doctor took a shine to this girl, and it really pissed me off. For a doctor who talks a lot about his ethics and stuff like that, it was really easy for him to be like, "Hey, baby." Like
he's a sexy doctor.
Actually, he is. I don't know why I didn't notice this before. The actor who plays him, plays the doctor. His name is Dick Biggs.
I can't believe I didn't notice that.
His name is Richard Biggs. It's Dick Biggs. So, the first thing I wrote down is fantastic. But the whole interaction between Doctor and Mariah, it really upset me. She comes to and he's like, hey, he gave his first name to start with. Oh, my name is Dick, whatever his name was. And he's like, oh, okay, we need to...
Dr. Franklin.
Steven. So he's like, oh, we have to spend 100 years. We need to kind of slow you back into this whole being part of all the aliens and stuff. There were no aliens when she first went in. And so the first thing he does with her is he takes her to the alien food court. Which, like, if you're trying to like slow drip somebody into today, like in Captain America, they didn't just take him to like a Globetrotters game or something like that. They locked him in a room and made it look like 1945.
Yeah, but you got 43 minutes to tell the story.
I know.
You can't do 2 minutes in the sick bay and then 2 minutes in the apartment and then 2 minutes in the hallway.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so it looked like he rushed her into the food court. And then she passed out.
Conveniently closer to his apartment than he is to the sick bay.
Absolutely. So he took her home, right? And I'm like, okay, this is fucking kind of weird. And she wakes up, and the first thing he does is he starts making out with her.
That's not the first thing he does. First, he tells her it's inappropriate to be making out.
Yeah, and then he makes out with her. Like, what the hell is this? This is the doctor who is I don't know. Like, he's made a big deal about his ethics before, and when we had that episode with the parents who didn't want to let their kid be operated on, like he made a big frickin' deal about it. And then here we go, first pretty girl, just sneaking some 100-year-old.
Except the first pretty girl, he also made out with the hobo doctor chick.
Yeah, but she was not a patient. This girl was a patient. That was like my issue. Isn't that like he was rapidly coming on to her? My issue is like the first thing they teach you in doctor school is, hey, like there's going to be some sort of
you think that's the first thing they teach you? You don't think they teach you like to use a prep pad first?
Correct. I think the first thing they teach you in doctor school is don't sleep with your patients. Like don't make out with your patients.
I think they tell you how to use a prep pad first, or like some Neosporin or something.
Well, we'll have to look it up. But yeah, that I mean, look, I wrote it huge in my notes that I was upset. I was so upset that he kissed her. I actually stopped the episode, went into the living room, yelled at my roommates about how pissed off I was, and then went back and finished the episode.
You're a player hater.
So what's going on with Amos and down below, and what happened on the Copernicus? What do you got? What do you think about the actual plot of the episode, not Poncho's?
Okay. I believe this was a big piece of the episode.
I think it was pretty cool. Like it's showing that there's stuff out there. What I'm having trouble with is I don't know when they're talking about monsters, like if like it's a real monster or if it's like people are the real monsters. This time it was a real monster.
It looked like a demon.
Yeah. It was invisible unless you could see it, apparently.
It looked like a devil from Star Wars.
Sure. Like a what?
It's a devil. It's got big ears, and it also is difficult to see.
Okay. I forgot what I was saying.
It was kind of strange, this one, because I believe at the end of the episode they implied that this creature was part of like the devil fleet that is out in the rim somewhere doing stuff, and he was on his way out there. But I thought that either it was in this block of episodes or a different block of episodes, they said that like this was when the devil fleet was starting to like muster its forces out there, and this demon creature hopped aboard this vessel like 100 years ago, and then pointed the vessel towards the outer rim and stuff. And so I guess it's been the devil stuff has been mustering for a while. But yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was kind of weird that this thing could, because they said the Copernicus flew like 100 miles or so away from this moon, and so I guess this thing can fly? ?
I don't get the devil thing. I don't get referring to this as devil. Maybe I'm missing things, but it doesn't seem like it's a devil. They keep referring to it as an ancient race. Seems to me like referring to it as the devil and the devil ships is doing a disservice to what it could potentially be.
You're right. I mean, it could also it could not be the devil or whatever the devil was before we categorized it as the devil. However, every step along the way, I just cannot get this demon devil theme out of my head as I watch how these things work.
Do you guys have any opinions or thoughts about Amos and Garibaldi and that exchange at all with the war?
I mean, it seems like every time someone is kind of hard up, Garibaldi actually, for as much of a hard ass as he tries to show off, ends up being kind of soft, and it's showing that soft spot that he has for veterans. It's kind of cool that he believed him, even though he probably shouldn't have. Which I didn't quite understand why he believed him either.
Well, Amos clearly has some form of post-traumatic stress, and Garibaldi has. I don't remember if it was post-traumatic stress but he has some sort of he's alcoholism in his past, and he's definitely got like a dark past and some stuff. And Sinclair had post-traumatic stress as well. Like this was about the era where they were old enough that and people were focusing a lot on like vets going crazy and suicides and stuff like that, I think. Specifically for Vietnam vets. And I get a lot of Vietnam vibe out of characters like Amos and Sinclair and Garibaldi. Whenever even Sheridan, whenever they talk about like the war, I get a lot of like Vietnam vibes from it.
I guess I'm not as sympathetic because I was straight out with guard number 1 at the beginning. Yep, space them all. None of these problems happen.
That's what I thought they were going to do with the Copernicus, actually. I thought they were just going to load him up in there and send him back to Earth.
if I were head of security on Babylon 5, there would be like a ring of dead hobos floating around the station. Like that's
As
what
a
you
warning?
That's no. No, they would just be doing the wobbly space travel around there.
So when the Copernicus showed up, it was creepy and weird from the very beginning. They were getting weird vibes. Amos was out there. Garibaldi had if you want to call it a tip, that there was something kind of kooky going on. But whenever it came time to inspect this, to look for demons, the entire senior staff showed up. Garibaldi was there, head of security, yes. Captain Sheridan, captain of the whole station, yes. XO, Lieutenant Commander Ivanova, yes, she was there too. If the demon was there and killed them all, the entire station would be in crisis. They did it like 3 times.
But there's no monster that can handle that group.
All right, so the next episode 6, A Spider in the Web. This was a lot to do with Mars colony. They're trying to make some changes that will actually allow the colony to avoid a more violent interaction with Earth. We get a little bit more of some sort of machinations happening, and we get some weird cybernetic assassin stuff as well. Definitely a Psychor Talia Winter-centric episode. So what are your thoughts on this one?
First, I want to say machinations is a good word.
I liked it. I enjoyed this episode. The stuff that we've seen on Mars in the past has been kind of, I don't know, cliche a little bit, I think. I think there was a little bit extra effort put into this episode and the next one on kind of the Mars intrigue. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the aerial shot of the San Diego wasteland at the beginning. I thought that was really cool.
Looked like 1998 Warhammer terrain. I thought this was a pretty interesting episode too. Have we gotten what's actually going on Mars? Like, we know there's revolution, right? We know that Mars wants to be free, but like they haven't gotten into any specifics of what the Martians want or what the Earth is the one being
Earth
oppressive.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it seems to me that Earth Force owns Mars. Like the Mars is under their purview, but Mars wants to kind of spin off and be its own sovereign entity. And it seems like in the past there's been a revolution or two to kind of basically using terrorist tactics or otherwise fight their way into being a sovereign entity.
I know we've gotten a lot of insight into what's going on. Like we've heard about them fighting and people dying, and colonists being pushed around, but we haven't actually heard what it is that they're like trying to do. And I thought this episode was going to do that because they kept on referring to Taro is his name.
Yeah.
They kept on referring to like Taro's plan, but they didn't say what it was. They just kept on saying, "Oh, this is going to do it peacefully."
What it seemed to me is that so there's a lot of anti-Earth sentiment on Mars, and there's kind of a seething underbelly of a desire for a violent revolution. It also seems like there is a cabal of companies and special interests that have rights to Mars industry and back and forth with Earth, and that is kind of linking Mars to Earth in a way that if Mars were to overthrow Earth control, then Mars would be in some sort of economic turmoil immediately. And what Taro wanted to do with Future Corp is he wanted to basically work outside of the Mars Coalition, work specifically with Mars government and Mars Republic, all that stuff, and basically profit himself by selling all their elements and all their resources out, but mutually exclusive from all the tariffs and stuff that and the rules that Earth is leaving on there.
Okay,
that's what it seemed to me. It seemed like he wanted to try a new economic angle and with that, Mars should profit enough, get enough money that they can essentially basically give them a hand up so that they can actually live on their own without needing Earth help. And that's, I think, where the conflict came. Is there's plenty of like this Bureau 13. There's plenty of interest that they need Mars and their resources to be linked to Earth, and not spun off on their own.
So I don't remember any of that being discussed.
Any comments about Talia and her character?
You know, I really want to like that character, but I can't wait for her to leave. Like, I know through some other reasons she leaves the show. I'm ready for her to leave. Every time that she comes on, I don't know if it's the way that she speaks or what's going on. I'm just like, go shut up. I don't want to see you anymore.
I disagree. I think over the course of these episodes, this one, I believe the next one, they found a way to like handbrake turn Talia Winters into being a character that I actually kind of like. Especially this episode, you know, she's witness to this murder, and then she's witness to a second murder. I don't know why she didn't psychic attack this murderer at any point, or she seems like a pretty powerful psyker, but I guess all she does is read minds. She doesn't have any sort of psychic attack. But you know, she kind of reads his mind, and he kind of buggers off. But what was really interesting to me about Talia's character is how Garibaldi interacted with her.
That's a bit more interesting.
Because for the past all the episodes, Garibaldi just been like openly hitting on her, you know, kind of being a creeper a little bit too much. And here she is in a time of need, and he kind of half hit on her, and she's like, "Dude, freaking, you know, frag off," or whatever they say. And Garibaldi found a way to be a pretty cool guy, and kind of.
Since season 1, when she looked in the murderer's head and she freaked out for something that wasn't that scary, it's like this is weak.
All the faces walking around.
Yeah. I'd like finding out that is the ambassador to Mars.
I don't believe that
the corporate lady. I
don't think she was an ambassador. She was like a representative of like a Mars council or something like that.
I like learning a little bit about her background there, finding out that she was a Mars first member.
She was a militant when she was a kid. Yeah. It's a great time in the 90s. So there's a scene in this episode where Winters chooses Psycor over something else. I forgot exactly what the choice was, but she lied. She lied to Garibaldi to basically cover Psycor's ass.
Yes, she did not mention Psycor's involvement, and she knew Psycor was involved, and she omitted that. So she did
purposely omitted that. So she chose Psycor, which makes it a bit like it leads up into the next episode. They introduced this shady organization within Earth Force. I think within Psycor, even like this Bureau 13. They introduced this kind of weird thing, and they did a whole flyover, and it's stuck in the wasteland. It's got a cool little computer with a flip up top. Yeah, all that's a little light bright. So there's that, and it turns out Captain Sheridan already knows about this stuff because he gets a kick out of government agencies and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So my question is, so Sheridan seems like the kind of guy who, like, I'm interested in this stuff, so he's like going to poke around and like talk to his friends about it and stuff like that. How do you get a high level government/military post if you're constantly investigating conspiracy agencies and like government cover-ups and stuff like that?
Just don't do it publicly.
I don't know how but like the dude's in the military. He's going to have military bros. Like, it's going to come up. Like that should have definitely come up in some sort of review.
It hadn't come up until now here, and it just came up.
Correct, but we haven't been investigating him for X number of years. Like, Captain Sheridan was the hand-picked choice of the president for this guy, but it didn't pop up on any of his, like, it's the government. Clearly there's all sorts of weird intrigue and stuff happening in the Earth government anyways. I would think that somebody would have tipped him off, like, hey, Bureau 13, watch out for this guy. He likes to learn about you.
But he hasn't shown himself to be a whistleblower, which is why they would like him. Like, he can know all that he wants if he can see things and then shut the hell up about it and do his job.
I don't know. It just seems to me that if you have, like, if you're a hardcore military guy and you want a guy who's going to follow orders and stuff like that, you also going to want to have a guy who knows, like, part of following orders is knowing when not to ask questions, I think, in the military.
And that's probably what he does. Like, I haven't seen him question anything. He just kind of watches and takes his notes and uses it to make the decisions that he has to make. Like, he has made decisions with that military bent. This is the decision to make, and he's overlooked some things, but he's not a whistleblower. He is most certainly a chain of command guy so far.
Stupid people in space. Oh, and did they implied that there was another agent of like Bureau 13 or something on Babylon 5? Did they show who they said that was, or do we just have a Cylon out on the station now?
I don't think they showed who it was.
So we have a Cylon on the station, and they might even not know. They might not even know who they are until we activate them.
Is that another Star Trek thing?
Nope, that's Babylon, Battlestar Galactica.
Is that what we're talking about now?
Yep.
So episode 7, Soulmates. This is a very Londo-centric episode, so I'm assuming you guys are going to have enjoyed it. It's his 30th anniversary of Ascension. He gets a special gift. And that's mostly all I remember.
Best gift you can ask for is divorce. No, this episode definitely seemed like it was setting it up to show just how bad the path that Londo's going down is going to turn out for Londo. It seemed to revolve solely around the divorce and his wife and his health there.
Yeah. It was definitely. I think it was intended to show kind of Londo's rise in station, like he the beginning of his ascension.
Mm-hmm.
And also they've talked about having 3 wives in the past, and they've showed him like loving and like being for tradition against kind of. So this was kind of interesting to see, who does Londo marry and why.
They all seem pretty close in age. One of them was younger.
I believe the Timov, the angrier one, I think she was the first wife. I think she was the oldest, and the next one was probably if it was a traditional human marriage, the middle wife would probably have ended up being a mistress from back in the day, and then the youngest one was like that's his throw when he's like in his 40s, his midlife crisis hoe.
Oh, midlife crisis hoe.
Midlife crisis hoe.
Yeah, but I don't remember much happening besides that story arc happening.
Well, I mean,
what was the monster in the station?
This was also the B plot was Winters and her ex-husband, Stoner. The guy who found a way out of Psychor while still being psychic, kind of.
Okay, yeah, I remember that happening too, but not. I mean, I was trying to kind of stick for the story, and like everything that's not progressing the main story, I'm just kind of like throw it out.
I think this is like another step in Talia's character arc, which kind of comes to fruition almost in the following episode.
She leaves the show, so I don't care about her.
I didn't know that until today, but thank you. I don't know. It seems kind of weird that Londo, as far as his station was rising, he was still laid low by a doll. It's like a voodoo doll. Ping! And I shot him right in the head.
Who the hell puts darts in a doll?
Well, I think the point was that they. So I think the story was that Stoner found it in an archaeological dig on an old Centauri colony that was wiped out by Narn a long time ago, and they believe that this doll was a trap set by Narn so that you'd give it to the kids. And they could be like, "Oh, sweet, a doll, pink," and then the kid would be killed by darts out of the doll's eyes or something like that. But I couldn't tell if that was like a cover story because Stoner is clearly still working for some organization doing something. So they might have just jury-rigged a doll or pulled an actual real doll and then made some sort of weird poison out of it and stuck it in there. But the cover story was that it was the Narn so long ago.
I think I would have liked that better if it was one of his wives being duplicitous.
One of his wives was being duplicitous,
and attempting to assassinate him.
Yes, she was.
Hmm?
So the plot line there. So the wives were getting divorced, right? If they get divorced, they don't get anything. Like they don't get access to Londo's money or his power or anything like that. So
that was wife number 2, right?
No. So what wife number 2 said, or whichever wife said, is if Londo dies before he's granted the divorce.
That's wife number 2.
Then all the wives get some.
Yes.
Well, the third wife is the one who she'd been sleeping around. She slept with Jakar, which was kind of sexy, I think, which is very funny for Jakar to sleep with Londo's wife. That's choice, dude. Especially his hot wife. But she was in on it, so she helped. She wanted to kill Londo so that whether or not he decided to choose her for his forever wife, that she'd still be given a bunch of money.
Okay.
So yes, the third wife was being duplicitous and killing him rather than letting him choose her, whether to divorce her or not.
Wasn't it the second wife that was doing that?
No, because it's the third wife who bought the doll.
Oh, I assumed that she was not buying a murder doll.
Well, that was so she bought the doll, and as soon as he got shot with it, she's like, "Oh my god, I bought it in the market. I thought it was just a little doll." And I believe when they weren't super specific, like they didn't like smack you in the face with the whole story, but she was present. I think Jakar, it was when we found out that she was sleeping with Jakar, and Jakar's like, let me try this one out. He's like, oh, but you said that you bought the doll, therefore making it look like you were innocent and that you were stupid and ignorant and naive little girl. And she's like, meh, maybe a little bit. So she even fucking bamboozled you.
So
You've been bamboozled.
You know what it was is
She was hot.
I put my faith in Garibaldi.
To come,
So like off scene, he's investigating all this shit, right?
Mhm.
If she bought the doll with the intention of killing him, he would have found that out. He would have Johnny on the spot that. So like when they were like, cool, we're not pursuing this anymore. I just like, all right.
well, I mean, there was no evidence. There's no evidence other than the fact that she's the one who bought the doll, and she immediately copped to buying the doll, and therefore she wasn't trying to hide anything. That was the point. That was why the ruse was so good. Clearly.
Sure, it was. Yeah. I'm not gonna buy a murder doll.
They sell like haunted dolls on
and
eBay.
and if someone gifted me a doll, I'm not gonna fucking rub its belly while pointing its eyes at my face.
Oh, I think they made a menstrual joke at the end.
They did.
They made I forgot what the menstrual joke was, but I wrote it down. They made a menstrual joke, which was
Delenn asked why she was experiencing odd cramps.
ha.
Was Google not a thing in '97?
If Google was a thing, it was not the dominant thing. You also had Yahoo and Dogpile, for Christ's
Also,
sake.
this was not 97.
No, this was like 95.
Was it 95?
94, 95. It may
Okay.
still be 94 from filming.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Google was not a thing because like it seems like she's asking a lot of questions that.
Could be Googled.
Hey, no, her what's her assistant's name? Lanier?
Yeah.
That guy Googles stuff all the time.
The dude loves Google.
Yeah, but just motorcycles.
Yeah, he's strictly mechanical.
She should have been able to figure out all the chick things in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it seemed like like when Lanier came in, like he was curious, but it doesn't seem like he is as close with Delenn as Veer is with Londo. Like Veer is always there because Londo always wants to be
No,
served.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying the technology has been established that you can Google things.
Correct. But Delenn did not want to Google it, perhaps because she was a little humiliated or just confused in general, which is why she asked a friend over, because sometimes it's just easier to talk to somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about than trying to look through, like an enormous book on human biology. And like I said, I don't think she's as close with Lanier as Veer is with Londo, so she didn't want to include Lanier in this thing happening, this confusing time.
She could have Googled human cramps.
Yeah, but think of all the fucking things that cause human cramps. She could be constipated.
But she's not constipated.
How does she know?
Because she's pooping, assumingly, or she would have been like, hey, I'm having trouble pooping.
But how does she know how humans poop? She doesn't know shit. She didn't know about hair. John, she didn't know that people wash themselves, okay? Like this lady is out of her depths, which is why she asked Ivanova. Because who would know more about styling hair but Ivanova?
Google. You learn to tie a tie. You could learn to shave a goatee. You could learn how to do your hair.
I believe Lanier looked up a specific book. Or he looked up motorcycles, and it gave him a running list of all motorcycles. But if she was like cramps, human cramps.
That's a gross list.
Like she would have essentially like what
That's the kind of thing is pictures.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's gross.
Exactly. Like fucking doctor.com cramps. Think all the stuff she's gonna have cancer.
Yeah, she's not a WebMD type.
No.
She's not gonna self-diagnose.
Yeah. Oh, breast cancer. There's got to be cramps.
She couldn't ask the doctor because Dr. Franklin would try to sex her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dick Biggs.
All right, so we're moving on.
Yeah. Sweet. Please.
Jesus. All right, so episode 8 is a race through dark places. I always look forward to this episode because this is the return of Alfred Bester, and there's an underground railroad, and he's gonna just wreck it, get all those psychers back underneath the heel of Psycor, or kill them all trying. So what are your thoughts on this particular episode?
It was a who's who of 90s character actors that look weird.
Can you elaborate?
It was a who's who of 90s character actors that look weird. All of them were in it. The little guy, the slow talking Indian. All of those guys are fugitive Psychors.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that any better. It's true. I thought it was really cool in today's perspective to pick a character actor who looks freaking weird and is difficult to understand in a lot of ways. And they gave him like a big part. He wasn't mini-me. Like he was the mastermind. I thought that was pretty cool. And they brought back one of your favorite characters, the Max Steel or whatever his name was. What's his name?
Max Steel?
Yeah. What's the guy's name? The guy who he has such a sweet name.
Oh, I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
The black guy who exploded because they had to do a flashback. This is the first real flashback in the
Jeremy
show.
Irons. No, it's not Jeremy Irons.
It's a different person. Yeah, he's got a great name though.
Yeah, but you're like
Ben Irons or something.
Jimmy Irons.
Jimmy James Irons.
Kevin Irons.
Michael Irons side.
Oh, I'm wrong. I found it's Jason Ironheart.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Ironheart.
Jason Ironheart.
What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good D&D
That is
name.
a good name.
Is that all we got? So we're looking.
I'm thinking
Jason Ironheart was brought up. Let's move on. Come on, Bester's back.
I don't like that dude at all.
Really?
Like he's a super weird looking dude. Like I can't think
Walter Koenig?
I can't think of a better looking character.
It's all right. Sorry.
That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
So sorry.
Shut it. Shut it off.
I thought the dog was trying to get up on my
Shut it
foot.
off. I'm done.
What was that?
So yeah, I mean, I liked that. At the end when they combined powers, I thought that was kind of cool, weird. But apparently, Winters has a little. She was changed a little bit by Jason Ironheart affecting her. She can block.
Her power's leveled up.
Yeah, well, she can block Alfred Bester's probes into her mind, and she could do one other thing too. What else could she do? She could like read minds better, or something.
She also had a little bit of telekinesis.
That's
to
true.
move some stuff.
Couldn't stop a murder. Couldn't throw a murderer. Couldn't catch a murderer. Couldn't affect a murderer. But she can throw a penny like the best of them. She's stuck in the wall, right up to old Abe's eye.
But like 4 faces who are sad about being killed, that's too much.
That was before. She
That's true. Before she leveled up.
Exactly, John. See, I mean that's really much all I really got to say about that. I thought it was kind of cool. She finally decided to throw off Psychor, that she's gonna be a human again. The fact that it was the Doctor running the Underground Railroad pissed me off, because I'm still mad at the Doctor for making out with that chick. This Doctor can't seem to decide if he wants to be like company man, like military guy, or if he wants to be like super soft-hearted Doctor man.
No, it's all those things. He's a passionate dude.
Okay. Well,
he's helping people and he's banging people, and sometimes he'll bang the people he helps.
I understand why it wasn't Ivanova, because they wanted to keep it kind of secretive and like put a twist on there and stuff like that. But the fact that it was a doctor pissed me off. It could have been anybody else. It could have been Security Pete. It could have been Garibaldi. It could have been freaking Delenn. Like that would have been cool too. I would have been super into that.
Why does Delenn care what's going on?
Because she likes
Psychor?
psychers or something like that. I don't know. Maybe she's trying to help people. She because she took that other human psycher.
But she's got to work on her hair. She doesn't have time to
That's fine.
Secret people.
I'm getting tired of the doctor. Too much sexy doctor. Oh, this is one where Delenn took Sheridan out on a date.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. She took him on a date.
I don't remember it being that exciting.
There was they did a psychic bamboozle, and then Winners and Ivanova.
That would have been a better title for this.
Psychic bamboozle is pretty good. And now Winners and Ivanova are friends, and it ends with Winners taking her badge off. Because it offends Ivanova. Look, it can be in here. It's got to stay on the table though. Oh, and the other weird thing about this episode, are we done talking about that thing? We're good. The other weird thing about this episode, hey, thanks for playing. This is the one where it opens with a joke that they're making senior staff pay rent.
That was kind of funny too.
That was ridiculous. And Sheridan was like, "No, goddammit, I'm running this station. I ain't paying rent on it. I'm on call 24/7. You're gonna give me that 7 extra square feet." And it didn't work. It turns out, it didn't work. I thought they were really gonna break in. Like I thought he was just gonna be done with it and like just pop the hatch. You're like, "No, this is my house."
Cool. So, Underground Railroad, doctor's in charge. Delenn on a date. Are we done?
It did work though. They did. He figured out a way. He had to pay the rent, but just with the station's money.
Oh yeah,
So,
great.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh wait. Did you say embezzlement? Yeah, that's what that is. That's embezzlement, isn't it? It's precisely what it is.
The last episode that you guys watched this block is episode 9.
The best episode.
I would agree with you.
Is that what it's called?
It is called the best episode, or alternatively, it has been referred to by the fans as the coming of shadows. And the Centauri Emperor is gonna come visit, and Jakar ain't having none of it.
Oh, that was so cool. This episode was awesome. This episode, I'm pretty sure they were like, it was Emmy season, because this episode had everything. Everything.
They didn't have any carpet munching jokes.
No, they did not have any carpet munching jokes.
That's a thing. It's not in there. They've had it in other episodes.
All right, fine. I believe this episode had everything, and here is freaking why. It had space battles. It had space intrigue. It had future-looking stuff. It had sweet alien stuff. It had assassinations almost. It had the coming together of two races that had been at war for over a century, and then it was dashed by a little bit of hubris. And not only was it dashed, but the little step towards the step towards hope that everybody had been looking for 100. So like part of the reason Babylon 5 was built is so they can have these two races become good buddies. And what happens? Londo happens, and he calls the devil, and the devil shits all over it. He ruins it. Not only did he ruin it, but now the Narn are at war. It went backwards.
Those are a lot of things that happen in the episode. Those are not everything. You said all of the things that you can say about it, but it was really cool seeing Jakar. Jakar seems like he really wants to not be aggressive. Like he really seems like a character who's like, I need to be aggressive because these goddamn Centauri keep fucking over our people. And every time like he makes a step and lets his guard down, those fucking Centauri do something fucked up. There's no coming back for Londo at this point. Londo's done. Right. What else?
No, I completely agree. I agree. It does seem a lot of times that Jakar wants there to be some sort of forward progress. He doesn't want to be a giant douche tool all the time. But this time, he was ready to die. He was ready to die to kill the Centauri Emperor and avenge his people. This Emperor didn't do anything, but his dad did, or his uncle, or the previous emperors did. And this was just such a big statement that he couldn't let it go. And one word from the Emperor completely diffused the situation. I'm sorry. One apology.
2 words.
Whatever. One apology completely diffused the situation, delivered by the fucking sexy doctor. And Londo was just suckered. Suckered by avarice, suckered by probably the Centauri culture. The Centauri culture is all about status and raising your station and stuff like that. He was suckered by how easy it was to get what he wanted, take the easy way out. And he was suckered by that jackass with the tall hair. I forgot his name. I don't think they even gave him a name.
Lord Rifa.
Rifa, what an asshole.
He's been in the show before.
You know what I like to call it? I like to call it Rifa madness. Londo was stuck with Rifa madness.
How are you gonna like to call it that when you just found out got the guy's name again? I thought it was gonna take longer for Londo to. I thought we were gonna see some more back and forth. Oh, I'm kind of a well-meaning dude. No, it seems like he's totally embraced. Like, well, I fucked up. Might as well be really good at fucking up.
Yeah, it seemed like after his first deal with the devil, like something small kind of backfired, and he saw, like, he felt bad. He felt really bad for what he did. But as soon as Rifa come by and was like, "Hey, man, we just really need to start this war thing again," we just need to do just a little push, one way or the other. And Lando was on it. He was on it like white on rice. Didn't even hesitate. And Veer is sitting there like, dude, you realize you're being a giant asshole right now. Like, it sucks dick what you're doing. And Lando's like, what? What are you going to do about it?
I mean, yeah, like it seems like he's really headed in that direction. Like other times when I've seen that type of character, usually that's an ends justifies the means character, and they have their lofty goals at this point. It seems like, but in mine, it seems like Londo straight out. It's like, cool, I'm going to be a tyrant. It doesn't seem like he wants to fix anything anymore. It seems like he just wants the power and the wealth.
Yeah, it's weird, dude. Like, he felt really bad about, and like he was clearly upset by when the Technomage said, like, oh, I hear all the screams of all your victims and all that stuff like that. He's clearly upset, but he keeps walking the path.
Yeah, he bought it. It seems like he bought his press. Like he's just, well, that's what I'm gonna be. That's what I'm gonna be.
It's just freaking weird, and it was really, really cool. So I think it popped up in the opening, or the series opener, that mini movie, whatever it was, where Londo said that he knew that Jakar was going to kill him, so on and so forth, and now we got to see it. And it, like, in this vision, we see Londo standing on a planet and seeing all the for lack of a better term, the devil ships flying over, and then we see him get crowned, and then he is older than shit, sitting on like a rundown plinth of a throne, and Jakar comes up with a giant scar and like a bandana and chokes him out. That was so freaking cool. That was so freaking cool.
It was indeed cool.
It was indeed freaking cool. Oh, that was so hot. And like, oh, so like the betrayal, Jakar finds Londo, like right after Londo finds out that the attack was on, and Jakar finds him, and he's like, oh, you old son of a bitch. And Londo's like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Look, I'm so sorry. Jakar's like, yeah, you should be sorry. I'm buying you a drink. Oh, this is awesome. And Lando drinks it. He drinks it. He looks at it. He's like, thanks, dude. You're awesome. And frickin' drinks it. Jakar finds out, flips his shit, flips his table, flips a security officer. That was awesome. Oh my God. So sweet. Ugh. So good. Weeping. Oh, Jakar, big mighty Jakar weeping like on the floor as all his people, like, it seemed kind of, it showed that Jakar wasn't just like pro Narn. Like, he didn't just want like the betterment of his government or even of his race. Like, he felt the deaths of the 500,000 or so people that were slaughtered, cut up by giant devil beams. Ugh, so good, John. It was so good.
It was
so good. Like I said, at the end of this episode, I wanted to watch more Babylon 5. I have not watched more Babylon 5 because I want to like see stuff in the appropriate blocks, but I wanted to so bad. Oh, so good. And then the Rangers. Sinclair's back. What did you think when you saw Sinclair?
I was surprised to see him. knowing why he was out, I didn't expect him to be involved in the storyline, particularly not so quickly. But it's kind of a cool thing to see him still have a part in the story. I like that he has rangers running around doing his bidding.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah, Rangers on the Wall.
Yeah.
Or like Lord of the Rings. Also, there
Sure.
are Rangers. Or like Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm. Dude had pouches and cloaks. That's a ranger.
I was very surprised to see Sinclair back, even in such a limited capacity. Yeah. I got really close to TV because now that we know like why he was out, I want to get really close to TV and like see if I could see.
See if you could see mental.
Well, I wanted to see if he. Honestly, I wanted to see if he was okay. Like I wanted to get close and see if. Well, I mean, who was it? Like Luke, who played Luke Skywalker?
Mark Hamill.
Like Mark Hamill, like drove off a cliff and like hurt himself real bad, and so. When you get into Empire Strikes Back and you want to get close, you want to see if Mark Hamill's like okay, like in the back of his eyes. And I wanted to get close and see if in the back of Sinclair's eyes if he was okay. He looked fine. I like that they brought Garibaldi in and they brought Delenn in, but Sheridan Ivanova, who probably should definitely be in on a little bit of this. No, man, they're in the dark. They only get what comes through Garibaldi. They don't even know Delenn is in on it. Garibaldi doesn't know Delenn's in on it.
I'm pretty sure he knows when he said that there's one other person. Garibaldi's Johnny on the spot, although he didn't solve the poison doll caper, which is maybe it was his day off or something. That was what I had thought about earlier when we were talking about the conspiracy theories. Like that shows that Sheridan is an observer. When Garibaldi said, I trust the guy, I can't tell you who it is, he was like, all right.
Yeah. Sheridan's like, you're not going to order you to tell me. And Garibaldi's like, yeah, but then you could never tell me anything in confidence again because somebody could just order me to do it.
So that just shows that he's the guy who can investigate conspiracy theories and keep his goddamn mouth shut.
Yeah, I guess. Such a good episode, man. So much good stuff. The Emperor wanted to meet Kosh.
Yeah, they could have just picked up like anything else in the space station. Like they could have, they could have been like, "Hey, look at this," and just grab like a air conditioning duct. Be like, "It's Kosh. He's a Vorlon."
the Emperor wanted to see Kosh. So grabbed a lacrosse stick and some brooms. And he asked Kosh how this ends, and Kosh said, "In fire." Sinclair tells Garibaldi and presumably Delenn to stick close to Kosh. So, I don't know. They still haven't really explained what the Vorlons are all about. Just that anybody who gets in Vorlon space ends up dying. So, I think the Vorlons are familiar with this weird Devil Force stuff. Like, I don't think that they are just prescient. I don't think that they just know history. They just know who these guys are.
Yeah, because when they were dealing, when Kosh was dealing with Morden, he knew what the hell was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that. I for some reason, I sense that we're not really going to learn enough about that, maybe even this season. But I want to know more about what the Vorlons are all about.
I hope in season 3, he goes into a cocoon and becomes more human too.
He's got to move,
or more something.
Got to move out of the sulfur wing of Babylon 5. He's got to move to the
or become a robot, become anything other than
a man in a suit, a light in a suit. Yeah. Yeah, there's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I thought when the Emperor said he wanted to see a Vorlon, I figured he wanted to see like what's inside a Vorlon suit, not like a guy in a spacesuit. Hello. I don't know.
Looks like the same guy that made Tom Servo made Kosh.
I was thinking that too, just in my head right now. Tom Servo, yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, something that I've noticed in this show is that the spaceships all have some sort of characteristic that ties them to the race to which they belong. So, the Centauri ships, which we see the first real good shots of Centauri ships in this episode, they all have weird freaking crescents on their back. Which is very reminiscent of the crescent hair of the Centauri. The Mombari ships, they all have kind of spikes and holes and stuff like that. Basically, the back of their vessel, the trailing edges of their vessels, look very similar to the crowns that they have. All the human ships look like what human ships look like now.
They all have Chevy Chase chins.
Yeah, I'll have Chevy Chase. Yeah. The Narn ships are all kind of rectangular, kind of like Narn heads, and I thought that was really interesting. I don't think in the grand history of the universe, when humans end up meeting other alien races and stuff like that, that all alien ships are going to share some major characteristic of
Their head.
their head. Correct. Like human ships aren't going to go out there with big noses.
It'd be sweet if they had sweet ponytails, though.
Yeah. I don't think the humans are going to send a ship out there with a mustache, right?
That'd be awesome too.
Or like feet, perhaps. But I don't know. I like that that in this show they're kind of tying them together in here. And it looks like the ships have just as much character, or show a lot of character of the race or the culture to which they belong, except for human ships, which just look like buses, like what you'd expect a human ship to look like.
Some of them look like cans.
Some look like girders, like two cans connected with some trestle.
They wobble when they become derelict.
So these episodes are really good. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing our next set of episodes.
We got a war going on.
We have the beginning of a war. How many episodes are we doing next time, Ramsey?
You're doing the next 5.
Next 5, so we're doing
10 through 14.
10 through 14. So I'm looking forward to this. I kind of can't wait. I kind of want to watch some tonight. Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Come back and see us.
See you then.
I kind of want to see John intro.
Go for it.
You want my intro?
I want to see it before Poncho jumped into it. I was kind of curious.
I'm not loud.
That's probably better. Poncho doesn't actually need to shout into his mic. Interestingly enough.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of. What are we doing? What's it called? What's Virgin Viewing?
Sure.
Why are we?
You can rename it if you want.
I don't want to rename it.
It's Virgin Viewing.
Okay, I don't want to do that.
Did he just say he didn't want to intro and now he's introing? Is that what he just said?
No, I don't want.
I want to intro a different show.
I don't want.
What's it called? No, I want to call it what's called. Oh, no, I don't want to do it.
Today we're going to talk about Warhammer.
Welcome to Roads Not Taken.
Roads not taken. Roads not traveled. Can we call this Dr. Poncho's Babylon 5?
I like that, man.
You would.
You can get in trouble for impersonating.